Hi, I'm Renee and I'm Tart in the Kitchen. And today I'm going to be making chocolate cherry sourdough bread. This is based on the Tartine country sourdough method. And after the first turn, I take dried cherries and dark chocolate chips and I fold them into the batter. Okay, so the first thing you want to do before you get started is to feed your levain. I fed my levain last night. It's looking pretty good. This is what it should look like. It should smell slightly tangy. I'm going to do a float test to see if it's ready. And so that means just take a little bit of water in a cup and put some of your levain in there and see if it floats. And if it does, you're ready to bake with it. And if it sinks, you need to give it some more time. So it's floating, it's ready. That means it's going to lift our bread up. So I'm following the Tartine country sourdough method. 200 grams of starter. All right, and 700 grams of water. And then you stir this up to disperse it. The next step is to add the flour. 900 grams of bread flour and 100 grams of whole wheat flour. I'm using Artisan Baker's Craft from Central Milling. I like the taste of it and it performs really well. I'm using whole wheat high pro fine, also from Central Milling. All right, next step is you stir this up and we're going to let this auto-lease. The auto-lease phase just allows the flour to soak up the water before you add the salt. Cover your container and let this sit. We're going to add 20 grams of salt and you just sprinkle it over the top, and then 50 grams of water. Now what you're going to do is incorporate the salt and water into the dough. I like doing this with my hands because I can feel if there's any hard bits of dough or hard bits of flour that are not incorporated. I feel like it's a more thorough method as well. Plus I like touching the dough. Once I've done doing the twists and grabs, I start to weave the dough. I think of it as weaving. I'm stretching and folding it over the top. And this is the very beginning of the process where you're starting to develop the gluten. And so right now we're tearing the dough, but once your gluten starts to form, this is actually going to stretch out and not break. It's really cool to see. All right, we're going to let that sit with the lid on for 30 minutes, and then we're going to mix in our cherries and chocolate. And I'm going to rehydrate these so that they aren't stealing water from my dough. I'm just going to pour enough water over to cover these. And we'll let this sit for at least 15 minutes. I'm going to add the chocolate chips. And these are the rehydrated cherries. I drained off the rest of the water so that it wouldn't be too soupy. I'm just lifting and folding. Trying not to tear the dough. Trying to get all of the stuff incorporated. All right. Now we'll let this sit for half an hour. And come and do it again. Okay, so for the second turn, I'm going to go ahead and dip my hand in some water before I do the turn so my hand doesn't stick. I'm just going to stretch it up and fold it over 3 or 4 or 5 times. And that's it. Okay, so I got called into work today, so this didn't get to ferment as planned. Instead of letting it go on the counter, I put it in the fridge. Just from leaving it alone, I know you can see that, look at the gluten structure. So, I'm gonna pull it out on the counter and shape it cold. When it's warm, I flour the top to make it a little easier, but when it's cold, it doesn't necessarily need that. I'm just gonna cut this in half, and this is gonna make 2 loaves. flour these and flip them over. Hard to get the dough tension when there's chocolate chips in the way. But. All right, so now I'm just gonna flour the tops of these and cover them with a dish towel. While these are having a rest during the pre-shaping, I'm going to flour my baskets. I've got a round one and an oval one. This one is for my combo cooker and this is for the Römertopf. And I've got a combination of rice flour and white flour. The chocolate chips interfere slightly with the tension of the dough, but I'll just tuck it in the bottom. All right, and then flip it over. Same thing with this one.